It's the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light, Little Flockulators. We've been talking about what to do when troubles arise. And I know, and I am aware, that this technique that I've been telling you all that we are to implement when trouble comes, I know and I am aware that it sounds very strange to the human mind. And the reason why it sounds strange to the human mind is because the human mind is a carnal mind. But God is a spirit, and those who worship him in spirit and in truth. You see it? So the opposite of spirit and truth, I say it all the time, is flesh and in lies. If you seek to serve Abba in the flesh, then you're serving him in a lie, because he's not flesh. He's actually spirit. You see that, little flock? He's a spirit. So now, little flock, let's see what we got here. What happens when trouble comes? You stand still. You wait. You see the salvation and you wait patiently for Abba to give you the desire of your heart. Do you see that, little flock? That's what you're waiting for, you see? So now, what happens if you don't wait? What happens if you don't stand still? You see that, little flock? What happens if you don't do the thing that Abba says, or in other words, enact this technique that I'm telling you all about? What happens when you don't? Because we saw what happens when you do, and what happens when you do is you get blessed, you get the salvation that you were looking for. In other words, you get what is the answer? What's the word I'm looking for? You get the outcome. There we go. Thank you, Father. You get the outcome you're looking for when you do the thing that he told you to do, which is stand still, watch, and see. Be calm, be of good cheer, be patient, and fear not. See, that's also a part of it. It doesn't just mean just stand still, terrified, in fear. To stand still and don't move because you can't move because you're frightened to death. That ain't what it say. Fear not is a part of it as well. Didn't we read that? Fear not came first, and then stand ye still and watch and see. You shall not need to fight. So then if I don't need to fight, then that means I ain't doing anything but chilling. See what the grandson be saying? And that's how you get it. But like I said, what happens when you don't do what Abba says? Well, let's put it like this. Why won't you do what Abba says? Well, the obvious reason is because you don't believe him. So then actually what's happening here is Abba is saving those who believe him, and he's rejecting those who don't believe him. You see? So those who don't believe him, let's see how that works out. Let's go to the book of, let's see where we want to start. The book of Joshua. The book of Joshua, chapter 7. And we'll start at verse 1. Okay? Now remember, what does Joshua represent? Salvation. That's what that name means. It's the same name as Christ. You see it? Now, why does he have the same name as Christ? And why does the branch also have the same name as Christ? Why? Because they're all in the same office, which is giving salvation to the children of Israel. So Moses led them all the way up unto salvation, or Christ, as the scripture says. Yeshua. You see? He brought them to him, and then he led them into the promised land, which is the spiritual mind. When you meet Christ, he will teach you spiritual things, because he said, my words are spirit and they are life. So then nobody can deny what the grandson is saying is absolutely true then, correct? All right then. You see? So they're coming into the spiritual mind. Who brings them into the spiritual mind? Yahshua does. Now, when you read about the branch named Yahshua, same name, he's given the garments of a high priest. He's called a high priest. So now we know that he's a priest, but he's not of the order of Levi or Aaron, of the Levitical priesthood, like Moses. You see, he's not of that order, Yahshua, no, but he is a high priest because the scripture says he is. Well, what branch is he, or what order is he? The order of Melchizedek. You see it? So what made Abraham righteous? Well, one thing we know he did was he gave a tenth to Melchizedek. Do you see it? Do you see it? So now, the king of righteousness teaches you spiritual things. That's what makes him righteous. Faith is a spiritual thing. It cannot be understood by carnally minded people. Can't you see it? It cannot be understood. Faith can't be. So then, therefore, they can't please God. Are people in the carnal mind able to please God? You'd have to say, no, they're not. So then, see how that's going? All right, then. Now, let's just see what happens when people get carnally minded. Let's just see. Joshua chapter 7. Start at verse 1. But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing. Uh-oh. So they committed a trespass, it says here. Uh-oh, little flock, do you see? So they're going to go to war like they were going in the other messages we've been talking about when they were told to stand still. Don't worry about it because Abba got you. Right? Uh-oh, this time they committed a trespass in the accursed thing. For Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah. So this Achan, what tribe was he from, little flock? He was from the tribe of Judah. You see it? What did this Judite do? He took of the accursed thing. So he touched something he wasn't supposed to touch. What did he touch that he wasn't supposed to touch, little flockulators who are spiritual? What's the accursed thing? The carnal mind. Do you see how that's going, little flock? And we're going to prove that he was in the carnal mind by what he did. So he touched the accursed thing, which was the carnal mind. And the anger of I am was kindled against the children of Israel. So when you go into the carnal mind, what does Abba do in response to that? He becomes angry with you. So then you see why the grandson of right thought is delivering you from your wrong thought. Or in other words, the carnal mind, right thought is the spiritual mind. So do you see how Abba sent this grandson of right thought to deliver those who were bound in wrong thought, or in other words, the carnal mind, to deliver them from the carnal mind? Because that's what I deliver from. I don't know what other men are trying to deliver you from. I ain't interested in it anyway, because Abba's giving me my work to do. And when a workman is busy, he ain't got time to be worried about what another nigga doing, do he? All right, then. And Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai. AI. Now we're going to say AI because it's interesting for the time that we live in. So the spiritual people were fighting against AI. Y'all see this, little flock? Which is beside Bethaven on the east of Bethel, and spake unto them, saying, Go up and view the country. And the men went up to view AI. Y'all see it here, little flock? So the men went up to look at it. And they returned to Joshua and said unto him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and smite Ai, and make not all the people to labor thither, for they are but few. So when they spied out the land, what did they see about Ai, little flock? They saw that it wasn't nothing but a small little group of Ai up in there. You see that? And so what did the men say to Joshua? They said, we ain't got to send the whole army in. We don't have to send many men because it's just a few guys up there to get. So let's just send a few thousand of our guys up there to go kill AI. Isn't that what they said? Well, let's see how it worked out. But remember, before they went to go do this killing, what already had happened? Achan already slipped up and touched the carnal mind. See? And God was already angry with Israel because of that. So because of one Judite, Abba was angry with the whole people. Why? Because all the people are one. And until they accept that, they're going to stay scattered. Why do you think they got scattered? Why would you scatter all of your children? Could it be because they didn't act as though they were one, but they hated on one another and plotted and schemed and backstabbed and lied and betrayed? Could that be why? So for all of you to get the message that you're all one, when one of you screws up, you all suffer. And then you guys think God is wrong for doing that. But yet when you played pee-wee football, nigga, your ass, your nuts didn't even hang down yet. Your first team you ever played for, when one of you screwed off or came late or huffed and puffed and acted like a wimp, what happened? Everybody had to do push-ups. Everybody had to do laps. Everybody had to go an extra mile now because this little guy over here, Khan, decided he didn't want to come to practice on time. Isn't it true? So you accepted from your football coach and you thought your coach was right for doing that, so that you all could learn a lesson that you all were one and that it took all of you and for you to count on one another and love one another. Since that's the message Abba's always trying to get his children to understand. It's so weird. It's as if people hear all the commandments of God and don't come to the same conclusion that I come to, which is that he was teaching us how to love one another so that when we lived in the land wouldn't spew us out. Because why do you think the land spews a people out of it? Could it be because they're living in it nastily and disgustingly and bloodily? I would say yeah. So that's why they got spewed out, because they weren't loving one another. So what will get them pulled in? Probably once they start to love one another again. Therefore, fulfilling God's commandments. If they love, correct? Because if you say it's not that, then you're going to have to wrestle with the scripture, not me. All right, then. So now, continuing. So they said, let's let a few go on up there. Verse 4. So there went up thither of the people about 3,000 men, and they fled before the men of Ai. So 3,000 Israelites went up there, and what happened? They fled. They ran away once they got up there to fight. And the men of Ai smote of them about 36 men, for they chased them from before the gate even into Shebarim, and smote them in the going down. Wherefore the hearts of the people melted and became as water. Do you hear it there, little flocculator? Their heart became as water. Abba said you got a hard heart like flint, like a stone, you see? And if you speak to that stone, water will come forth from it. So Abba's speaking to the hard heart of his damn people, isn't he? Skitty-lee, can you understand me? I hope that you can. Watch this here. And the men of Ai smote him. You see that? And Yahushua, verse 6, rent his clothes and fell to the earth upon his face before the ark of I am until the eventide, he and the elders of Israel, and put dust upon their heads. They're mourning and in sorrow. You see that? And Yahushua said, Alas, I am El. Wherefore hast thou at all, watch this, brought this people over Jordan to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites to destroy us? Would to God we had been content and dwelt on the other side Jordan! Exclamation point. Do you hear this? Doesn't it sound eerily similar to what the children of Israel said to Moses in the other message we were talking about when they were at the Red Sea? Every time it's time for them to cross over to the other side, guess what starts to happen? They start to get nervous, Nelly, and scared and wanting to go back. Isn't that what Joshua just said? It was better for us to not even have crossed the damn Jordan and stayed on the other side over there. Well, that means to stay in the carnal mind. Fighting war in this spiritual way don't seem to work right. So guess what? I thought it was better for us to fight in a carnal way. In other words, receive the things that you're looking for in a carnal way. The way you learned when you came here. When you're converted, you're going to learn a new way. And when you learn that new way, sometime you're going to stumble. Sometime you're going to mess up. Sometime you're not going to be able to be effective because you're still double-minded. You're still double-minded. You haven't accepted your crossing over and just stayed over there happily. Nope, you're going back and forth wavering. Just like the scriptures be saying. So you see what happened there? The same thing. Uh-oh, calamity has struck. So, oh man. All right. So crossing over this Jordan River represents crossing over to the spiritual mind, as it always does, you see? Now watch. O I am, what shall I say when Israel turneth their backs before their enemies? Exclamation point. For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land shall hear of it, and shall environ us round, and cut off our name from the earth. And what wilt thou do unto thy great name? So he said, we know we're your people, Abba, but when you allow us to get destroyed in front of our enemies like this, all the Canaanites are going to hear about this destruction that we've just suffered, and they're going to get emboldened and environed around us. Environ means to surround us, so that they can make a prey and destroy us. You see it? Now, let's just see the same kind of state of being Abba always tells us to be in. Let's just see if it even gets brought up in this message at all. Let's just see, little flock. But as we continue, what does he say? And I am said unto Yahushua. So let's see what he says. Get thee up. Get up. Isn't this interesting? What did he say to Moses at the Red Sea? Watch how it's not anything different. He says, Moses, why do you cry unto me? What is that in your hand? He said, a staff. Yeah, lift it up. In other words, take up your authority in my name and stop being a coward. That's the same thing he's saying to Yahushua, saying, get up. You see it? You're laying all down on the ground covered in dirt. Get up. Watch this. Wherefore liest thou thus upon thy face? See it? Why are you laying down here like that? Why are you doing that? Just like a father would say to his son. What are you doing laying down there looking all sad for? Huh? Israel hath sinned, and they have also transgressed my covenant, which I commanded them. So they broke the covenant. You see that? For they have even taken of the accursed thing, the carnal mind. You made a covenant with a spirit. I don't know how you guys can't hear what I'm saying. When you made a covenant with God, did you make a covenant with a flesh and blood being, or did you make a covenant with a spirit? Speak neatly, can you understand me? All right then. For they have even taken of the accursed thing. So if you made a covenant with a spirit, then who else could you cheat on that spiritual mind with other than the carnal mind? When he says you have played the harlot and committed adultery, who are you doing that with? If there's the spiritual mind, who's your husband? When you're not spiritually minded, there's only one other who becomes your husband. So then who are you cheating on him with? Like I've said 1,000,000,000 times here at the School of Marvelous Light, and I will continue to say as long as there is breath in me. It is the carnal mind which is death. All right? Watch this here. Watch this. For they have even taken of the accursed thing and have also stolen. Thou shalt not steal. And has stolen and dissembled also, and they have put it even among their own stuff. They stole, which means they were in the carnal mind in order to steal. Am I wrong? Because if you're spiritually minded, which is life and peace, can you steal? No, you can't. So do you see how you really broke the covenant? It wasn't when you stole. It was when you got carnally minded, which is why you stole. Oh boy, lasering through all of this dumb shit. Continuing. Therefore, the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies. See, when they didn't do what Abba did, what they told them to do, and they didn't trust him by faith, but they doubted him and didn't do what he told them, what happened? They could not stand before their enemies. That's what I've told you guys, that they know about Israelites. If they break the commandments, then they cannot stand. But if they start to keep the commandments, which are to love God and then love their neighbor, then they will fulfill the commandments, and then we can't stand against them. So then you see why I keep telling you guys to love one another? Because I'm not fucking around with us rising up and not letting them niggas stand against us. They can't stand against me. So if you're of my people, then you can only arrive to the location where I am, because they can't stand against me. Because I keep Abba's commandments. How do you think he fortifies these messages that I give you? How do you think he makes it able for me to continuously never change and always give you these powerful messages? How does he allow me to speak in his name? You see it? Because I am conquering over my enemies constantly and always and forevermore. That's why. And I rest in it. Rest means I don't change from it. I don't need to change from power. Do you? You find something powerful and then you go back to something weak and beggarly that doesn't have any power in it? Sure. Go right on ahead. But that proves what mind you have chose. You see it? Now, I would advise you to stop cheating on Abba by being carnally minded. You see? Now let's see what happened here. So they took some stuff that didn't belong to them and hid it. Achan did, that man from Judah, see? So they couldn't stand before their enemies, but turned their backs before their enemies because they were accursed. Because they were what? They were accursed. That's what happens when you become carnally minded. Now, I want you guys to tell me, can you be carnally minded and not be accursed? You would have to admit that once you become carnally minded, you're accursed. So do you see what I'm telling you? All right, then. Neither will I be with you. Do you hear that? Anymore, except you destroy the accursed from among you, the carnally minded. Get them up out of your camp. That's the only way I can dwell among you. Because long as the carnal mind is there, then death is there. And life cannot be where death is. Neither can death be where life is. There is a void between the two. Do you see it, little flockulators, or do you see it? All right, then, watch this. In the morning, therefore, you shall be brought according to your tribes, and it shall be that the tribe which I am taketh shall come according to the families thereof, and the family which I am shall take shall come by households, and the households which I am shall take shall come by man. So he's sifting them down to point out who the hell then did this wicked thing. You hear that? And it shall be that he that is taken with the accursed thing shall be burnt with fire, he and all that he hath, because he hath transgressed the covenant of I am, and because he hath wrought folly in Israel. Folly is foolishness. The carnal mind is foolishness. What does it say about the spiritual mind? The spiritual mind is foolishness to the world. See how I'm keep pointing it out that that's what it is? That's what you don't want among your people. You want spiritually minded people because then you'll have life and peace. But if you have carnally minded people, then you will always have a thief. See, he said you stole. You will always have a thief. What else does he do? Steal, kills, destroy. So what else would you have? You would have a murderer and a destroyer. Gosh golly. So it don't seem like you got nothing good when you got a carnally minded nigger around. Does it? All right then. All right. So watch this. So Yehoshua rose up early in the morning and brought Israel by their tribes, and the tribe of Judah was taken. Uh-oh. All right, Judah, what you done did. And he brought the family of Judah and took the family of the Zarhites, and he brought the family of the Zarhites man by man, and Zabdi was taken. Uh-oh, he was dwindling it down, y'all. And he brought his household man by man, and Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, the tribe of Yehudah, was taken. Uh-oh, they got him. You see that? And Yehoshua said unto Achan, my son, give, I pray thee, glory to I am, El of Israel. You see that there? And make confession unto him, and tell me now what thou hast done. Hide it not from me. What you did, man, and tell the truth. And Achan answered Yehoshua and said, indeed, I have sinned against I am, El of Israel, and thus have I done. So he said, I did this and I did that. And when I saw among the spoils, look, little flock olaters. So what's actually happening? He's talking to Yehoshua. So now what I want you to do is I want you to zap your mind to Christ. Now imagine that that's Christ standing there. Christ being the good shepherd of the little flock, who leads the flock by still waters, calmly. Now, one of his commands to the flock is to take no thought of what you shall put on. Isn't it? That's to be spiritually minded for you to not take thought of what to put on. That means your thoughts are spiritual then. Because if they're carnal, then you'll start to think about that stuff, because he said the Gentiles, they take thought of those things. So be not like unto them. So that means if you did it, then you didn't listen to Yahushua, did you? And it's that simple. But see, people don't understand that. That's breaking the covenant. But people don't even know that. That's breaking it. I didn't break any of God's commandments because I was thinking about rocking more Gucci and every damn thing every day. I wasn't thinking that that was wrong. I was just thinking about stacking up more clothes in my closet. How was that wrong? Because Yahushua said, take no thought of what you shall put on, didn't he? Swing. See how that goes? So let's see what this man Achan was thinking about when he got accursed. Let's see. He says, I saw, so this is his own mouth saying this, when I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonish garment. Stop right on there. He saw some nice clothes. See why I said what I said about take no thought? And who's talking? Yahushua is. Same name. Salvation is the one saying that. Just like he said in the New Testament, he says, take no thought of what you shall eat, what you shall drink, what you shall put on, what you shall wear, or any matter of fact, don't even take thought for your life. That's how you should fight on the battlefield. You shouldn't be taking thought of your life or what you're going to wear or what color shoes you're going to match with your hat when you're on the battlefield. Should you? See how I'm just slicing and dicing through everybody's vanity? Because it is indeed vanity. God doesn't care if your hat and shoes match when you stand before him. You think you sweet as hell standing before God because you have on a Mitchell and Ness hat cocked to the side that matches your Boston Celtics jersey, hardwood classic you spent $250 for? God didn't give a fuck about that. That isn't even the way he made you. He didn't make you and put a hat and a jersey on your ass when he made you, did he? You put that shit on yourself and thought that it was impressive. See how I'm just slamming these niggas down like Royal Rumble and I'm the only one left in the ring? Oh, boy. Watch. So he saw a nice, what kind of garment? Babylonish. So what's the point of saying it was Babylonish? Because Babylon is the mother of harlots, my nigga. She's the great whore. She is a great whore. She make nations drunk, trying to bring them all in and make them one with her. That's why it said it was a flashy, outwardly beautifully appearance garment. That's what that means. Sought after by worldly as people, which was what Babylonian means. It means worldly thinking as people. That's why the Babylonian head on the statue was gold. Did you guys notice that? All right, then. So let's see what else we happen to see if this has anything to do with gold here. Let's see. And he said he saw 200 shekels of silver and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight. So they weren't there to take any spoils. That's not what you're there to do. You're there to slice and dice. You see it? Isn't that what they said they were going up there to do? They didn't say they were going up there to do anything else. So then when they went to the other place, what were they going there to do? To conquer. That's what they were going to do. So we ain't got time to be breaking Abba's commandments by doing what? Let's see what the word is. And then I coveted them. See? Now you guys know the commandment, thou shalt not covet. Now see, the world, when they see that man take those goods, that's when they call him a thief. And that's when they say he coveted. So he's a coveter. He's broken God's commandment. He saw those garments that didn't belong to him and he wanted them. He saw that gold, he wanted it. Yeah, he said so. So yes, he did. But why did he desire it? See how you're dealing with the symptom, which is his coveting? But I'm dealing with the root cause, which is he was in the carnal mind. So if I keep my babies out the carnal mind, then I've done well, wouldn't you say? All righty then. So let's see. I coveted them and I took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. Remember what I told you what you do when you're doing something you ain't got no business doing. You don't do it openly so men can see you. You do it hidden. What does Abba say about the light and darkness? Those who love darkness, they remain in it so that their deeds are not known. But those who love the light come to it so that their deeds are made manifest. Those of the darkness love darkness rather than light because they do not want their deeds to be made manifest. So that man did not want what he had done to be made manifest. So do you think what he done was right? Well, it's being exposed that it wasn't. And that's why he hid it, because he already knew that that was the case. He knew that because he was in the carnal mind. And that's why you gotta premeditate before you do what you do. La-dee doody doo. That's why you have to premeditate before you do what you do. And Abba judges the premeditation before you do what you do. But men only judge what you do what you do. Can't you see the difference? I hope you can see it too. Look at this, look at this. She said, don't put me on camera. My titties hanging down. Don't put me on camera. Well, don't come over here then. Trying to get on camera. You don't want your titties showing on camera. I got to go get decent before I get on camera. All right, y'all, watch this here. So Yehoshua sent messengers, and they ran unto the tent, and behold, it was hid in his tent, and the silver under it. And they took them out of the midst of the tent, and brought them to Yehoshua and unto all the children of Israel, and laid them out before I am. So now, little flock, I want you guys to see something. You guys remember that Judas, who betrayed Yehoshua because he wanted that silver that we saw that was hid under it. You see? He wanted that silver, and he sold out his people so that he could get it. Even his own master. Yeah. You notice that this guy here is from the tribe of Judah as well. That's what Judas means, by the way. I mean, it's the same name. It's Judah. It's just the Greek way of saying Judah. So you notice it's Judah here doing it again. You see it? When you don't love your brothers, the whole nation falls. But if you love your brothers, then the whole nation shall stand. You see it? Continuing. And Yehoshua said, and they took them out of the midst of the tent and brought them unto Yehoshua, verse 23, and unto all the children of Israel, and laid them out before I am. And Yehoshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had. So a Babylonian garment and a couple of pieces of silver and gold caused him and the memory of everything that he had, including his children, his goods, and even the ox. Ali oxen wasn't free anymore. They bound his ass up too. And what did they do? They brought them unto the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, why hast thou troubled us? See, I am shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones and burned them with fire. After they had stoned them with stones, they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So I am turned from the fierceness of his anger. Wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor unto this day. Now, before we continue reading, did you see the judgment for going into the carnal mind? Was the judgment death for him and all that he had? What has the grandson told you? That the carnal mind is what? See how I'm locked and loaded, ready to blast any whack-a-mole, popping his buck-toothed ass up out of his hole? He pops his ass up. I'm turning his head into a canoe. Chapter 8, verse 1. And I am said unto Yehoshua, so now that after his anger has abated, because they got the carnal mind up out of their body again, now they're on right thought again, see? So I am turned from the fierceness of his anger, wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor to this day. And I am said unto Yehoshua, watch this, what did I tell you? Fear not, stop, neither be thou dismayed, stop. What did I tell you? Now, back to the right state of being again that we were in before this knucklehead came over here with this carnal shit, thinking about coveting and stealing and doing shit he wasn't commanded to do. You see that there? So he's perished and everything about that nigga has perished. And now it's back to fearing not, neither being dismayed. Why? Because now you're back spiritually minded. Now let's see if that's the case. Neither be dismayed. Take all the people of war with thee, and arise, go up to see Ai. See, I have given into thy hand the king of Ai, and his people, and his city, and his land. And you shall do to Ai and her king as you did unto Jericho and her king. Watch. Only the spoil thereof and the cattle thereof shall you take for a prey unto yourselves. Lay thee an ambush for the city behind it. You see that there. So Yehoshua arose and all the people of war to go up against Ai. And Yehoshua chose out of 30,000 mighty men of valor and sent them away by night. And he commanded them, saying, Behold, you shall lie in wait against the city, even behind the city. Go not very far from the city, but be ye all ready. And I and all the people that are with me will approach into the city, and it shall come to pass when they come out against us, as at the first, that we will flee before them. So remember, they're already cocky. Ai are already cocky because they've beat Israel's ass the last fight. So now that Israel's coming back up there, Ai thinks, well, we're just going to hand them another quick ass whooping again. So let's chase after these niggas like we did last time. But it was an ambush set. You see how that's working against these niggas? You see? Watch this. For they will come out after us till we have drawn them from this city, for they will say, they flee from before us as at the first. Therefore, we will flee before them. See, we will flee before them, he says. Then you shall rise up from the ambush and seize upon this city, for I am your El, will deliver it into your hand. And it shall be when you have taken the city that you shall set the city on fire. According to the commandment of I am, shall you do. See, I have commanded you. See, I have commanded you. Yehoshua, see it? Right thought has now. You see it? Yehoshua therefore sent them forth, and they went to lie in ambush, and abode between Bethel and Ai on the west side of Ai. But Yehoshua lodged that night among the people. And Yehoshua rose up early in the morning and numbered the people, and went up, he and the elders of Israel, before the people to Ai. And all the people, even the people of war that were with him, went up and drew nigh and came before the city and pitched on the north side of Ai. Now there was a valley between them and Ai. And he took about 5,000 men and set them to lie in ambush between Bethel and Ai on the west side of the city. And when they had set the people, even all the host that was on the north of the city, and their liers in wait on the west of the city, Joshua went that night into the midst of the valley. And it came to pass, when the king of Ai saw it, that they hasted and rose up early, and the men of the city went out against Israel to battle, he and all his people, at a time appointed, before the plain. But he wist not that there were liers in ambush against him behind the city. And Joshua and all Israel made as if they were beaten before them, and fled by the way of the wilderness. Oh, they getting us, y'all. Let's run. We scared of these niggas. They gonna get us like they did last time. Yeah, they still following us, right? Yeah, them niggas still following us. Yeah, man, we scared, man. Y'all hear the grandson of right thought. All right. And all the people that were in Ai were called together to pursue after them, and they pursued after Joshua and were drawn away from the city. And there was not a man left in Ai or Bethel that went not out after Israel. And they left the city open and pursued after Israel. And I am said unto Joshua, stretch out the spear that is in thy hand toward Ai. Isn't this the same thing where Moses and the children of Israel at the Red Sea, like I said before? Not before, before. Isn't it the same thing? I would say that it's the same thing. It sounds the same. So it must be the same. He said, stretch out your hand. Why are you crying to me? Joshua, why are you laying there on the ground acting like that? Get on up. Now stretch forth your hand and your spear. You see it? That he had in his hand toward the city, and the ambush arose quickly out of their place, And they ran as soon as he had stretched out his hand, and they entered into the city and took it. So they flooded the city when he raised his hand, just like the waters moved when Moses raised his hand. See it? You see it? So they entered the city, they took it and hasted. And the ambush arose quickly out of their place, and they ran as soon as he had stretched out his hand, and they entered into the city, took it, hasted, and set the city on fire. What's up, bro? And when the men of Ai looked behind them, they saw, where am I at? Behind them, they saw, and behold, the smoke of the city ascended up to heaven, and they had no power to flee this way or that way. And the people that fled to the wilderness turned back upon the pursuers. And when Yehoshua and all Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city, and that the smoke of the city ascended, then they turned again and slew the men of Ai. See, they was running, going, these niggas, they coming for us, y'all. Joshua like, they coming, they still coming. Yeah, they gonna get us, And as soon as they saw the smoke coming, they said, now what's up, nigga? Surprise, motherfucker. Slice, 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 slice. Yeah, I'm blind. I'm just slicing through without a thought. Now, nigga, what's up? I've already told me you mine. Come here. Get over here, bitch. Get your ass over here and get in twain. You too, nigga. Get your head off your shoulders, nigga. Give me that gut. Pull that shit out, nigga. Pull your spine out and rip your fucking legs off, ho. See what I'm trying to say, Lil Flock? Straight going ape shit in that bitch. You hear me? That's how you do when you confident and ain't got a worry or a care in the world. You'll be draped up like you've been walking in the wine press too. That ain't offensive to God. Matter of fact, God loves that guy. So let's see what happened. And the other, where I went. Okay, yeah, they slew the men of Ai. And the other issued out of the city against them. So they were in the midst of Israel, some on this side, some on that side. And they smote them so that they let none of them remain or escape. See that there? And the king of Ai they took alive and brought him to Joshua. And it came to pass when Israel had made an end of slaying all the inhabitants of Ai in the field and in the wilderness wherein they chased them, when they were all fallen on the edge of the sword until they were consumed, that all the Israelites returned to Ai and smote it with the edge of the sword. And so it was that all that fell that day, both men and women, were 12,000, even all of the men of Ai. So Joshua drew not his hand back, wherewith he stretched out the spear, until he had utterly destroyed all the inhabitants of Ai. Only the cattle and the spoil of that city Israel took for a prey unto themselves, according unto the word of I am, which he commanded Joshua. Remember that when he said that? Okay, and Joshua burnt Ai and made it a heap forever, even a desolation unto this day. And the king of Ai he hanged on a tree, which represents being cursed. See? Until eventide. And as soon as the sun was down, Joshua commanded that they should take his carcass down from the tree and cast it at the entering of the gate of the city, and raise thereon a great heap of stones that remaineth unto this day. Then Joshua built an altar unto I am, God of Israel, in Mount Ebal. And Moshe, the servant of I am, commanded the children of Israel, as it is written in the book of the law of Moshe, an altar of whole stones, over which no man hath lifted up any iron. And they offered thereon burnt offerings unto I am, and sacrificed peace offerings. Do you see it? And he wrote there upon the stones a copy of the law of Moshe, which he wrote in the presence of the children of Israel. Do you see it there, little flock of letters? So he wrote a copy of that law, and all Israel and their elders and officers, their judges, stood on this side the ark, and on that side before the priest, who? The Levites. See it there, little flock? Which bear the ark of the covenant of I am, as well as the stranger, and he that was born among them. Half of them against Mount Gerizim, and half of them against Mount Ebal, as Moshe, the servant of I am, have commanded before, that they should bless the people of Israel. And afterward he read all the words of the law, the blessings and cursings, according to all that is written in the book of the law. There was not a word of all that Moshe commanded, which Joshua read not before all the congregation of Israel. You see that? With the women and the little ones and the strangers that were conversing among them. And it came to pass when all the kings, blah, 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 and it goes on, it goes on, it goes on. So do you see that? So because they had become carnally minded and broke the covenant, then they had to get the commandments given to them again because of their carnal mind. Now, did this happen with Moses? Well, the scripture was just telling you that it did. Moses went up to the mountain and he came down and they had already broke them. So then he had to go back up and go get some more. See what I'm trying to say? Well, that had happened there. They were accursed, which means they broke the commands and broke the covenant, which Abba said that they did. So they had to reestablish the covenant so that they could understand their sin and not do it no more, hopefully, even though they did many times, as we already know. You see? But now the time has come where he will not wink at our ignorance any longer. We now know the truth and he expects us to walk in it now. Because we see that when we become carnally minded, then we break the covenant as soon as we do that. And it's going to cause us to then do something that isn't going to benefit us, not one little iota or one little bit. So then why should we even give over to the carnal mind? I say that we shouldn't. So do you see how Yahushua did not come to destroy the law, but he came to fulfill it, to show you how to actually do it. Be not afraid. Don't worry. What did Yahushua say? Be not afraid. Be of good cheer. Don't worry about these things. Don't worry about gold, riches, have not the love of money. Woe unto the rich. Don't be chasing after that. Don't be chasing after goods. Don't be chasing after none of that crap, because Abba knows what you have need of before you ask. That's the way to fulfill the covenant. That's the way to not coveting. That's the way to not committing adultery. The way to not committing adultery is not going into the carnal mind. Y'all understand that? The way to not sin is by not entering the carnal mind, but rather resting in the spiritual mind. Shalom, Mr. Allah.